when we landed, it very early in the morning, and I looked out the window, and there was a lupin growing through the cracks of the tarmac. I don't know. It just made me happy.
Oh, well, Iceland is one of those places that will make you happy.
Yeah.
I have the moment my feet touch down there, I'm just like it just brings me joy. I've been doing lots of tours there and lots of different activities, exploring the country, and so I understand. Even just seeing the lupin,
Right.
like, and once you get out in that fresh countryside and you smell the air and look out at the nature and learn about the history, you'll be like, this is why I was meant to be here.
Thank you.
Great. Um, Nancy, you've been to Iceland, but you haven't been on the knitting tour, but we've talked a lot about the knitting tour. Do you just want to say hello and maybe just be like,
Sure.
yeah, anything you want to share about Iceland?
Hi, everyone. I was in Iceland with Tara and Inger in August for the Women's Adventure Tour, and it was an adventure. We had so much fun. It's just a beautiful country. I loved it. I'm a lifelong knitter, and I was really interested when I heard about the knitting tour. And so I am not signed up, but I've been trying to share. I'm from Madison, Wisconsin, and I've been trying to share information about the tour with other folks. So I'm here to hear about.
And
What
she
was
has
that?
been. She's been going. She'll send me a message. She's like, I dropped off a flyer at the Chicago. Like she'll name the yarn shop here in Chicago.
Yeah.
I'm just going around. So thanks for spreading the love and sharing the information. So it's great. And anybody else want to just like introduce yourself? Where are you from? What drew you to the knitting tours? Are you interested in the West Fjords or the one with the sheep roundup? Anybody want to share?
Hi, I'm Kate. I
Hi,
actually
Kate. Hi.
live in North Carolina. I went to Iceland about 9 years ago, and made a journey to the famous wool shop. Took 2 buses to get there from Reykjavik, and walked a ways and went into the shop. I have the yellow bag and bought a whole bunch of yarn. In fact, for that trip, I flew one of those little tiny airlines from North Carolina where they charge you for everything, including luggage. So I literally wore 2 pairs of pants, 2 shirts, including a long sleeve shirt and shorts, and then my jacket, hat, gloves, and mittens. And then got on the airplane and had a grocery bag, and I peeled half of the stuff off. And when I got ready to leave, my roommate for that trip, I had left a pair of slacks and a shirt. I threw all my underwear away because I had bought so much wool. I needed to have room for the wool. Every place I go, I buy wool. And I've been retired for 10 years, so that's a lot of wool. Just came back from Nepal and India, and Nepal had wonderful wool. India, not so much, because it's a hotter country. But and I've been a lifelong knitter. Learned to knit when I was 8 years old. It's the go-to craft. I do almost every kind of fiber arts. Tat, I have a loom, I weave, crochet if I have to. Because some things you have to do that with. I'm actually working on a sweater, shoulders down, from a Knit Stars person. Old Asa is her first name, from Sweden somewhere. And I like to explore new things. And I've looked at other knitting tours, and they're so expensive. I haven't ever really managed to make that leap. So the reason I'm here is to find out more about it.
How did you find these knitting tours?
I got an email, I think, or it was on Facebook. I don't remember which.
Okay.
I sign up for a lot of travel sites, so it's one of the two things.
Well, it's good. It's good to, like, I like to know how people find us. I'm always amazed, yet I shouldn't be because I've been doing this for 16 years, but I'm always amazed how a beautiful destination brings strangers together. Like somehow none of us know each other, but here we are tonight from the comfort of our own homes to talk about Iceland and knitting in Iceland and an experience that is a really, really unique one. So what I'm going to do is I've already started the recording of this. I'm recording it so that anybody who can't be here at the meeting can watch it later. And just for the sake of time, I'm going to jump into our meeting. And then if you're welcome to stick around and ask any questions or, get more into wool talk, which I feel like that should be a podcast. It probably is, right? Wool talk.
Oh, I'm sure.
And, and yeah, so that's the overall plan for tonight. Okay. And so I want to do speaker view. So what I'd like to do is if you have your camera and your microphone on, if you could turn your camera off and turn your microphone off for right now. We can bring those back on later on. Inga and Bear Gross, leave yours on. But if participants, if you could just turn your cameras off and your microphones so we can limit our bandwidth to avoid any interruptions. And then also so we don't have any no barking dogs in the background. I say that for myself. And we're going to as we go through and talk about the tour, if you have questions, go ahead and put those in the chat. And then if it's appropriate, we'll stop in the middle to address those questions. And if not, then we'll just we'll answer those at the end. Okay. And I think that's all we have to, that's the housekeeping. Okay. So my name is Tara Short. I'm the owner of Green Adventures Tours. We've been leading women's trips around the world, about 13 destinations since 2010. I started with leading tours in Baja, Mexico, and now we're in Alaska and the Galapagos and Costa Rica. We're stretched all the way to Africa. And Iceland is one of my favorite destinations. I've been taking groups to Iceland since 2017, and it started off with, much like my other adventures, outdoor adventures. So I want to do hiking, kayaking, horseback riding as ways for people to explore the country and to learn more about it and the people. And so it was but over the time I've been really interested in learning more about the culture and also learning about wool. And so in 2023, Inga Berg and I were guiding in Iceland, and I said, Inga, I want to do a knitting tour. And I said, I want to tie it in with not just a knitting workshop, but I also want to learn about the history of wool and women and wool. And I want to explore farms and go to factories. And she says, I know how to do that. And so Inga is helped design this wonderful tour that we did last year called the Knitting in Northern Lights with the Retter, which is the sheep roundup. So and that was another component of this knitting tour. Is I said, I really want to be involved with the sheep roundup. So we did that for the first time last year. It was a great success. And then we added, so this year we have the same tour in September, and we also have a West Fjords Lopapesa tour. So Inga is going to be spending a little bit of time talking about the itinerary, and Bear Gross, we're so lucky to have Bear Gross, our knitting designer, who will be with you during this tour, who will also be sharing information about the tour itself too. Okay. So, Miss Ingeberg, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes. My name is Ingeborg Guðjónsdóttir, and I have a history with wool. I was a fashion designer and pattern maker for Álafoss, which is the Lopi producer here in Iceland. In the 80s. When I was young, I just finished my studies, and I came directly to their factories, and that's how my line with wool started. And then life went on, and I went to do other things, and then I went into guiding, and now I have combined my passions for knitting, wool, and tourists together. So it all comes together. So that's the short version.
Well, and Inga,
Huh?
you've been, did you tell them you've been guiding for over 30 years? In addition to, she's just a Renaissance woman. And then also you have this wonderful farm that we'll visit in Northwest Iceland too. And that was definitely a highlight for a lot of the women last year, was to go to your farm and just knit in your living room and, walk on the property, walk on the mountain behind. So it's a really special place.
Having a lamb soup in my
Yeah.
kitchen. So, yeah, that was really nice. I'm looking forward to that again.
Great.
Yes.
And Bear Gross, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, thank you. My name is Bergrós Kjartansdóttir, and I'm from Ísafjörður, where I am now. I moved to Ísafjörður this summer, but I have lived for 35 years in Reykjavik, and before that here in Ísafjörður. So I am old and new Westfjords thing, So but my wool life started when I was 4 years old, I think. But when I was maybe for 15 years ago, I started to design for Ístax, the wool factory in Iceland. So I was with them maybe for 5 or 6 years. So I have quite many designs, patterns in their books. After that, I started to design for myself, for my website, and for Ravelry for myself. So you can buy patterns from the websites. But 2 years ago, I wrote this book. Well, I started to write it a long time ago, but it took many years to, put it out. And this is the book that you will read and see when you come to Iceland. The book name is Shawls of Myth and Magic. And in it is there are shawls, poetry, and stories, and all of it comes from the Northern mythology, which I love, and I have studied in the university for a few years, and I'm making now my master degree connected to that. So I like to make some connection between how to make something from your hand, which comes from the stories, the old stories, and from your mind. So in the book are shawls that are coming from the text, the old stories, and I make something in the textile. So it's from the text to textile. And that book is, well, it came in Icelandic and in English, which is a little special for, one woman to make. So, well, maybe you have seen it. I don't know if you have seen some pictures, and maybe it's a little difficult to show it here. But at least there are a picture of 18 shawls in there and patterns of 9 shawls, and each one of them have stories or poetry. And I can tell you a lot more if you come to Iceland about wool and old stories about people who lived here in Iceland.
And everybody will be getting everyone who goes on the September 7th Northwest Iceland tour, that's the Iceland Knitting and Northern Lights with the Retcher, they will get that book because it's part of the project. Everyone's knitting a shawl on that tour. So everyone gets that book.
Mm-hmm. But in the other tour, do you want me to talk about that a little bit?
I don't know,
The
Inga,
local-
how
the
do you?
local dress?
We'll talk about that on the show and
Okay,
when you come in there. Okay.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
Should we start the show?
good.
We'll
Okay.
do the jumping sheep, and
I'm gonna share my screen with you guys. Can you see it?
And
Mhm.
Inga, Ingeborg, I want to just point out for those who are just coming in, we're recording this so that others who, so if you missed part of it, the beginning, I'll share that with you and you can catch up. You can use the chat to put your questions and we'll address them at some point in the tour, in this presentation or at the very end. Okay. Okay, Inga.
Okay, thank you. So yes, so I put together a small slideshow to go over these two different tours that we have next summer, and a little bit about us and the wool. So you have already seen Bergrós, this amazing lady from the Westfjords, and actually both me and Bergrós, we are born in the Westfjords. We are Westfjord Gales. And we call ourselves Westfjord witches, so be aware. we can put spell on you, but they are mainly good ones, you know. But yeah, so as Bergrós told you, she is a scholar, literature scholar, and she is also a jewelry designer and goldsmith, and as being a knitter. So she has many sides to her, as which is really, and yeah, see, like I say, everything she touches becomes an art piece of art. But what's going on here? Yeah, okay.
There you go. Good.
And then it's me. You have already seen me, and so I have yeah. So my first degree, like I said, was in clothing design. And then I also did ethnology and tourism, BA, and a master degree in project management. And I've also published one book. I'll tell you about that later when you come to Iceland. And I have been guide for quite many years in Icelandic nature and in other countries as well, mainly in Greenland, alongside with Iceland, and I'm a ski instructor for cross-country skiing and many other things. Tell you more about that when you come and meet us up here in Iceland. But the new kid in town is Tara, in the woolly Iceland town. She wants to be an advocated knitter, and she is practicing, but she has totally fallen for the Icelandic wool, and I completely understand that, and so does Bergrós, because everyone that gets to know the Icelandic wools really falls in love with it. So here we are putting together the tour of magical Icelandic wools, and so the Icelandic sheep, they are quite special. They have been with us for over 1,100 years here in this island. Came with the Vikings, mainly from Scandinavia and Shetland and Ireland, probably some kind of a mix. And it had developed into what we call the Icelandic sheep today. It has a fleece of 2 layers. The inner layer is merino, and the outer layer is like a long hair that we call tog in Icelandic. There you can see the word tog and þel in Icelandic, and in English it's actually tog and þel also. And so in the old days, we always used to separate those two kind of fibers, the fine wool, the merino wool, and the longer hairs. But then we started also to mix them together, and we made this famous lopi, what we call, and which is like a lot of people know that as the traditional Icelandic wool. But that came actually later. But it's the fiber that we use for the Icelandic sweater, and it's a mix of the merino wool and the long fair hair from the sheep. And but there are many different kinds of lopi yarn. So, and we'll tell you more about that. What is the difference between, and actually we'll be visiting the factory. We'll go for a factory visit on both of the tours to Eastech's production center. So let's talk about a little bit about the tours. So there we have these two tours. So we have the Icelandic women Northern Lights and Réttir sheep roundup, which is this tour here that you see, and it goes from Reykjavik and all the way to the north. This is where my farm is here, where Hvítserkur is. And we go as far as up to Blönduós, where there is a museum, our textile museum. And alongside our way, we visit a lot of people. And that's the nice thing about this. This tour is quite expensive. It's because it's loaded with visits, paid visits that every day we have paid visits to something. So we have we are meeting local people in relationship with the wool. We are of course visiting local yarn stores also. We do factory tours. We do dyeing workshop. We go the textile museum. We go to farm visits, and we also go to national parks and nature parks visits. And we go to one local spa. And all the hotels that we are in are really nice and have some jacuzzis or small spas like infrared sauna or saunas and so on. So that's our Réttir tour and Northern Lights tour in September, which is the first tour, and it's a 9-day tours, and it has other textile experts that we meet up with and go and visit. Like Helga Thor is one of our famous textile specialists and knitting designer also, and she'll talk more about the wool, and she'll teach us different things about that. And then the Guðrún is the owner of the Hespa house, where she dyes or yarn, Icelandic wool. And she has these magical fingers. She has completely went into her dyeing pots for a long time, and she has been she is completely fascinated with that, and she has done her doctorate degrees. So that's among the specialists that we meet. But Bergrós told you about the book, the Shawls of Myth and Magic. We'll knit one of the shawls out from that book, and yes, so it's basically we have workshops in the morning from 9 o'clock in the morning to 12:30, and then we have lunch, and then the afternoons, then we have guided visits and meetings with, or we meet up with other people, or go to farms or whatever we are doing that day. So we have always like a dedicated something to do every day in the later afternoon. And then we come back to our hotel and have our dinner, and then we can meet after dinner and knit more, or just talk, or go to the jacuzzis, or whatever we want to do. So that's our days. And the photo there of the Northern Lights is from last year's. We had great aurora viewings from our hotels on that tour for a couple of nights. It was quite amazing. And so you never know, of course, but there are at least 50% chances for us to see auroras. And I would say the gem in the end of that tour is the last day is the roundups, and the roundups is something that everyone can stop at and see, but not everyone can stop at and participate in. Then you have to have contacts into we call it the sheep king of the year. to get permission. The sheep king is the one that gives permission for whom to go into the corrals of the sheep to help out with bringing the sheep, the flocks of sheep into different categories to the farmhouse. And it can be quite sporty. The sheep do not always like us to do that. And this is a very old tradition for over 1,000 years. And here I'm going to show you one year what we were doing the sheep roundup. This is by my farm. And so this is, you have this old corrals. And as you can see, this is children, grown-ups and everyone. And we are just bringing these sheep into these corrals, which are owned by the farmers. So that's our missions. And sometimes the sheep do not want to get cut and they try to jump over us or kick us. And so it can be quite sporty. You don't have to participate in it. You can also just be on the side and watch it if you are afraid of the sheep. But yeah, it can be quite funny. So this is something that not everyone can participate in, and this is a quite unique opportunity for you guys to do, because yeah, this is like I would say one time in a lifetime for you to do. It's, yeah, it's quite amazing thing to participate in. Tara, what would you say that did that for the first time last year? What was your sensation of it? Were you afraid, or?
It was, I didn't expect sheep, and I've done a lot of wildlife encounters, but I didn't expect the sheep to be so active. I didn't expect the jumping at us, you know. I didn't expect, there's just a lot of energy, and you had, it's like a teamwork thing. You have to really listen for directions. There's organization in the chaos. But I have to say, though, that when we did a wrap up last year and talked to the participants, like, what were your favorite things? Many who have been on other knitting tours, they said, we came here for the sheep roundup. We know how special it is to be part of that. And it did not disappoint. And then even at the end, remember, we went and had, what was it, like waffles and whipped cream with the Women's Cooperative, who was like the area raising money for something within the area. But it was just nice to sit down with the local ladies and have dessert.
Yes, yeah. So at the Coral there is this group of women in the region that do different kinds of work for the community, and they gather money during the réttir, the roundup, by selling coffee and some goods, and or some cakes and things like that. So we of course we took part in that too, and they were really happy with getting all our money for to help them out, because that very often goes into poor families, or they are helping kids that have difficulties and different things. So it was nice also to be able to share something to them for letting us be with them. So
yeah, is this the last slide of this
yes. So
I want to just point out then
so this was about the réttir tour. Yes,
I just want to just go real quick about just the highlights of that last tour. Is you have the workshop every morning with Bear Gross, and she's going to help you knit. You're going to knit one of the shawls from her, from the book Shawls of Myth and Magic. Wow! In addition to giving you, like, doing a knitting workshop, she's going to tell you stories about her life growing up and the stories and Norse mythology. And she's just such a creative person and a wonderful storyteller. So you have that in the morning. But then, I mean, from everything from the nature spas to go, going to these hot springs right next to like a fjord, going to the goat farm, the woman who saved the goats, Icelandic goats. So going to the goat farm, behind the scenes tour at the East Tech wool factory, meeting with Helga and Gudrun, going to their workshops in their houses, going to Rita and Pal's place to like look at the different adornments that they made with like sheep horns and stones and rocks that people can use as jewelry or adornments to their craft. But along the way, we're meeting people in their homes and in their own space that are letting us come into that space. You can't get you can't Google this experience. And that's what I love about this. And I wish that I had the budget to let millions of people know about this tour, but only a few do. And I guess that's good in itself too, right? Because we're just the right people will get to experience this really unique experience. And I'm so appreciative that you have put it together and are allowing me to advertise to my audience. I love being a part of it. It feels very, very special.
Thank you, Tara. So let's talk about the Westfjords tour. So last year we talked about doing a Lopapeysa tour because a lot of people, when we put out the Sjálfs tour, a lot of people were like asking us, aren't you going to do some Lopapeysa tour as well? And we were like, yes, we were thinking about that, but we would like that to go to the Westfjords. And why to the Westfjords? Westfjords is, well, very dear to me and Bergrós because that's where we are born in Ísafjörður. And all our people are from the northern part where no one lives opposite of Ísafjörður. No one lives there any longer, but we go there every year, also with knitting tours for Icelandic women's. And it's this is just the Westfjords are remoted. It's very little touristic, and it's just another kind of uniqueness. So that's why we wanted to have the Westfjords. And we knew that we could also like, by going there, we are also like tapping into our heritage and stories that we can put in, and we can bring them alive to you. And all these small fishermen towns between the mountains and the deep fjords of the Westfjords, it's really pretty, you'll see. So that's it's a bit different tour because it doesn't have as many visits, but it still has a little bit of visits. We go to the factory, the Álafoss factory, and we go to the yarn store to get the yarn, and we go to other yarn store in the Westfjords, but we also visit a sheep farm on that tour with young people that have just started, they just bought a new farm. And it's actually, they were in the newspaper the other day, so I'm going to show it to you. So this is the little family we are going to visit. See this nice little Icelandic sweaters that they are all wearing? This is typically Icelandic family. So yeah, so they are going to house us, and she is actually a cousin to Bergrós. So that's really nice. But there is also this beautiful nature there, and in Ísafjörður there are a lot of things happening. Bergrós, do you want to tell them about all the artistic things that are happening right now? And it's like a melting pot of artistic things that are going on there with the Netagerðin and the gallery. And
yeah. Yeah. One of the reasons I decided to move from the city, Reykjavík, to Ísafjörður was that because a lady here from Ísafjörður, she started a special thing. She rented a big house here in Ísafjörður. We call it Netagerðin. It's where in the old days the seamen were making their nets to hunt, to fish out in the sea. And you say net, don't you?
Yeah,
net?
fishing
Yeah,
nets.
the fishing net, yeah. And the house has been, nothing has been happening there for a few years. And but this lady, very strong lady, and she's also a designer. She designs many things in leather and all kind of stuff. And well, she took this house and made this, what what can you say, these residencies or these art.
Art workshops.
Yes, maybe up to 31, I think. So I have rented one of this space. It's like 30 space, yeah. And in that house, yeah, I think there are almost 50 artists, designers, people who are doing many things here in Ísafjörður. And many of them are producing things like ceramic or, for example, knitting designs, all kind of things, jewelry, many things from with the leather and so on. And so it's quite special to go in there and meet the people who are working there. And 3 months ago, 10 of us started a new shop in and near, not nearby, it's not downtown here in Ísafjörður, and where you can buy.
Bergros, isn't it like a gallery? Like
Gallery, shop gallery, where you can buy the stuff that the local people are making here in Ísafjörður. So it's quite special. In this little place, it is happening. So there are, some rising sun is over this place now, I would say. So it's quite, I am quite happy to take a part of it and be with all these people. And I feel this power, and, you know, when almost of them are women, you know, so it's quite special. And I look forward to when you come, and I will introduce you to all these things and these people. You can see what they're doing and you can shop from them, and then you can meet this really, you can feel what this place is, what this place can offer to the world, I would say. It's very special. Vestfjord is special. It's different from other part of Iceland. It is.
Yeah, it has some kind of magic to it.
Yes, it is.
You have to go there to see it.
Yeah, and my parents, they are both from this place, the northern part, where no one lives anymore. And and so I can tell you a lot of stories, magical stories about that area.
Yeah, so Bergros is gonna invite us to go with her to the Netagerðin and visit, and of course we can also go and visit the gallery with her. And then she's also graciously gonna host us in her house for a workshop. So
yes, I will.
Maybe she'll invite us for a lunch too.
Yes, I will.
Yes.
And I will invite you to my balcony, because my balcony, you can see the whole world.
So that will be quite nice. So it's an 8-day tour, the Vestfjord tour from Keflavik Airport. We start actually picking you up at the airport in this tour, and then we end at the airport on the 8th day. So it's from airport to airport, except if you want to stay like a day longer or day before, day after or more. Of course, you can do that. But yes, so this is the view from Bergros balcony out on the sea, and you can see all the sailboats out on the fjord. This is the bottom of the fjord, and so we'll go and do that. And so in the mornings, of course, we'll have workshops where we work on our doll size. So we are doing our doll size project. So Bergros, do you have your doll with you?
I have the
sweater. Yeah. So you can see on the slides, you can see her doll, and that doll has a really big stories that we were not going to tell you now, but will come in the Vestfjords, and has been with Bergros all of her life almost, and she knits clothing for that doll every once in a while, and so yes, so the little lopapeysa will be a doll size lopapeysa. And the good thing about the doll size lopapeysa is that Then we have made a lopapeysa with all the uniqueness of the Icelandic lopapeysa, everything that you have to know, how to make an Icelandic lopapeysa, and then you can start your own lopapeysa. So you can start that on the tour if you are a knitter. If you are a beginner knitter, like Tara, for example, she might finish the doll size sweater.
Yes, he will. Yeah.
She will, yeah. We
Everyone will
were getting
finish.
somewhere with her. So yeah, so maybe next year, Tara, you will make full-size lopapeysa.
Maybe I'll finish my scarf.
Yeah, first. Yeah. Bergos, do you want to say anything more about our doll size project?
Well, it's there are four colors, and I just everyone is in it that is in bigger size, you know, how to increase and decrease and, you know, all that stuff. So you will be capable to knit a bigger one when you have done this one.
Yeah.
And we will have the wool for you for this lopapeysa, and I will put together some combination of colors. I had in this one just we call it the sheep colors, the natural colors. But yeah, so you will have a box of that. So you just have to bring with you needles, and we will tell you later what that is, what kind of, how thick.
What you need to take with you. So,
yeah.
Okay. So in the afternoons, we go out and around about in the Westfjords, and Icelandic nature is has this deep connection to mountains and sea, and if the weather is good, like you see on some of these photos, we can go outside and knit out in the nature. Sometimes we do that.
We will do that. Yes. Huh? We will do that even though it's not good weather.
Yeah, just have the good clothing with you.
Yes.
So warm clothing, you always need that for Iceland, and rain clothing. So that's a must to be able to enjoy the Icelandic nature. It's another thing to knit out in nature, I think. And yes, and we will do. We will not just be doing knitting out in the nature. We will also be visiting local things, the local fishing village, like the local life, like Bergos was talking about, different cultural things, museum, different towns, and so on. So
and the local brewery.
Yeah, and you see the beer here. This is the only Westfjord brewery, beer brewery that we have, and this Djúpið means the deep sea, or it's also a fjord, one of the fjords that Ísafjörður is in connection with. So you get to learn about Iceland brewery as well. So yes, our talk is over about the comparison of those two different tours. I hope I was able to explain a bit the difference of the two of them. And so one is 9-day, the other is 8-day, and one has, the réttir has much more included, like a lot of activities. The other one is more like nature and sightseeing, and but it's also just being together, doing things together, and having a beautiful time knitting together and learning about our woolly culture in Iceland. And we are looking forward to meet you in our woolly Iceland. So if you have any questions, or Tara, do you want to add, or Bergros, anything in on that?
Nothing for me. If you want to, we could close out your slideshow and show the screen again and invite people to ask any questions. Does anybody have any questions? Give you a chance to, I've muted a lot of you, so if you have anything you want to.
They will have to unmute themselves.
Yes, I'm trying to get out of speak. Oh, there we go. I like the gallery view. Right, it's like a game show where you see everybody. And then I guess some of the things too is the Northwest Iceland trip with the work, the workshops and the visits to the different textile professionals and the hot springs and the sheep roundup. You have 4-star hotels that we stay at. A 3-star in Reykjavik. We stay at Hotel Leif Erikson there. But then as we go out into the countryside, we're staying in 4-star hotels. Yes. Which give us an area so that we can do our workshops in those hotels. And then West Fjords, what is I haven't, you want to tell us a little bit about those where we're staying on in the West Fjords?
Yeah. So in the Westfjords, we are mainly staying in like smaller countryside hotels. So like a 3-star countryside hotel. One of them has jacuzzis. That's the one that is the last night. So the first 2 nights we stay in the Westfjords, the southern Westfjords, and there we have natural hot springs that we can bathe in. And that's like a 3-star small countryside hotel. Then we go to Ísafjörður and we stayed 4 nights there, and that's called Horn, and that's also a newly renovated house that was used to be the old commercial house, has now been turned into a hotel. And then we end in the farm of Hrundsneff before we go to the airport. And Tara knows Hrundsneff.
Yeah.
That's a small farm, countryside farm hotel, which has animals and jacuzzis as well.
I love that little country hotel.
Yes, I know you do.
Just something about it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I just if anybody has any questions, they can jump in. But I want to show you how to sign up for the tour if you wanted to sign up, where to get that information. Can you see do you see my website, or do you see Zoom Workplace?
We do.
Yes. Okay. All right, good. So go to greenadventures.com, and we do so many Iceland trips that we actually have a tab that just says Iceland Journeys for Women. And so you come here and see the different tours that we have for that we take to Iceland all season. But you can check out our Iceland women's knitting tours and Lopapesa tours. So here's the Knitting in Northern Lights and Rettir tour, and September 7 to 15. And this is where you come. You can download the brochure again, check availability to actually book the trip itself. And you'll see that we have early bird prices, that we have limited spots for early bird. So right now we have 4 left for the early bird price for $58.95. And then after those 4 are gone, it goes up to $59.95. So every trip needs a critical mass in order to run the tours. And we know that those who sign up early have to wait a little bit. And we want to give incentives for those who sign up early. So sign up early and take advantage of those early spots, and you can help confirm the tour for everybody. And right now there are 4 people signed up, and 4 more will confirm it. And so this is how you sign up. And then there are some single supplements if you want to upgrade yourself to a single room. Otherwise, we'll pair you with a roommate. That's one of the nice things about being with a all group of women. And you'll see the payment plans pop up here too. So starting March 1st through July 1st, everything is broken down into installments. And then the same thing with the West Fjords tour. 19 to 26, and you can check availability. And we also have early bird pricing. We have 1 left for that, $54.95, and then it jumps up to $58.95. So if anybody's really wanting to do the West Fjords trip, you can sign up with a $300 deposit and confirm that tour. Okay, so this is where you sign up, and I hope that I hope that you do, because it is a really special trip. And if you're looking for a unique experience that ties in textiles and creativity with some really wonderful people taking care of you along the way, this I have no doubt that you'll give this a 5-star experience, 5-star review, because it's that unique and special, and by experts, with Inga and Bergros taking care of you throughout the tour. I will be on the West Fjords tour, and I'm really looking forward to doing that with you guys.
So there is a question on the meeting chat.
On the chat, what does it say?
Will the tour be offered again in 2026, Tara?
I don't know. That's up to you guys, right? Hopefully it'll be offered again in 2026. I always say that we want to offer things in the following year. I feel good about it, that it'll be offered next year.
This
Any other
is
questions?
This is Nancy. I don't know if you can hear me.
I can, yes.
Okay. I just want to encourage everyone, if you're at all inclined to think that this would be a great time, I can assure you that you will not be disappointed. It is just so much fun, and the camaraderie that's generated by these tour guides, the people that you've heard from today, is just amazing. And it'll be a peak experience of your lifetime. So I would encourage you all to really consider it. And it's a beautiful, beautiful country.
Thank you, Nancy. I appreciate that. And then Lisa, I just saw your question pop up. Are these pictures from last year? Many of them are, yes. And then I was going to email all of you a link to the recording that we did last year with a wrap up of the tour. So people who are on the tour, we got together, we just talked about what their highlights were. We shared some photos. So yeah, those are the pictures and videos from previous year. Mm-hmm.
The photo circle.
Oh yeah, there's also photo circle. We share as a group photo circle pictures.
That's so nice.
Yeah, and if you be happy to share with you our photo circle too, if you want to see 1,000 photos. But the wrap up is good. And then with the website, we're actually adding more pictures on the website. That should be done by the end of the week, and those are all photos from last year as well.
Nice.
Any other questions? Okay. Well, thank you very much for joining us tonight and for your enthusiasm and interest in Iceland and Iceland knitting. And I'm excited to introduce you to my friends, even virtually. And thank you both, Inga and Bergros, for being here tonight and taking the time to talk about this wonderful tour and staying up late. I know it's midnight your time right now.
Yeah, that's okay. I never go to bed before midnight.
And actually, Lisa, now I see your question. Are there pictures from last year? Yes, lots of pictures, and I'd be happy to share the photo circle with you. For some reason, I thought it said, are those the pictures from last year? So I'll follow up with an email to everyone with the recording in case you came in late, the link to the book, the tour, and any like supplemental information that would help you make a decision. Okay.
Thank you, everyone. Hope to see you soon in Iceland.
Thank you.
Thank you. Nice to see you. And hopefully you will come and meet us here and knit with us. See you later. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.